All right, Sandra, now to growing questions about former President Biden's health during his time in the White House as president. Congressional Republicans are stepping up their investigations into Biden's decline, looking to his inner circle for answers. Wisconsin Republican Senator Ron Johnson joins us now to discuss a push to interview former Biden cabinet officials next month. Senator, thanks for joining us as we head into this Memorial Day weekend. You would like to bring 28 former members of the Biden administration before your committee for interviews, including Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, and Antony Blinken. And as we consider that, let's consider what the White House physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, said about Biden back on February the 28th of last year. He said, quote, President Biden is a healthy, active, robust 81-year-old male who remains fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency, to include those as chief executive, head of state, and commander-in-chief. Clearly, there are big questions about that and other statements. What, Senator, do you want to know?
Well, and clearly they were lying to us. Listen, I think the American people deserve to know exactly what was happening, who's calling the shots, who's using the auto pen. Right now, we've invited 28 former administration officials, people that should have had, if not daily, but very frequent access to President Biden. That list may expand as news reports indicate other people might have been quite influential as well. So again, we're inviting them at this point in time. I think it'll be a relatively short list of questions that we're going to be asking them initially, but it depends on what we hear from people, see what kind of contradictions there are. It's illegal to lie before Congress, and so hopefully we'll actually get the truth out of these individuals.
Senator, where does the former First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, fall into all of this?
Well, I don't believe we've put her on the list yet. Again, we're going to be talking about governmental officials, those folks first. But again, this is a voluntary ask right now. Hopefully, we won't have to subpoena anybody, but we may take it to that level if we have to.
So there's a similar effort being launched in the House by the Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer. Here's what he told Jesse Waters last night.
We're going to bring every single person that was involved in this cover-up in front of Congress and ask them all the questions that the American people deserve to have answers for.
And one of those questions is, and you alluded to this, who was actually running the presidency? Who was using the auto pen, and what was it being used for? And was it being used with or without Joe Biden's knowledge?
And the reason that is so important is, let's face it, the President of the United States is the most powerful elected official in the world. Access to the nuclear codes, making very important decisions on behalf of America. And there's a reason we have the 25th Amendment. If that individual is infirmed, if they're unable to discharge the offices and duties of the president, we expect the vice president, we expect members of the cabinet to inform the American public so they can take action so that individual can be replaced. Again, this is basic information the American people have a right to know.
Okay, so Senator Ron Johnson, I want to ask you about the one big, beautiful bill as we continue to hear Democrats speak out against it, although it was able to pass in the House. Barack Obama takes it on in a new post on X, saying this: right now, Republicans in Congress are trying to push through a bill that would put millions of Americans at risk of losing their health care. They want to cut federal funding for Medicaid, take away tax credits that help more people afford coverage, and raise costs for working class families. Senator, where do you stand on this, as now the Senate is next?
Well, first of all, understand that President Trump is trying to clean up the mess left behind by Democrats and President Biden. It was President Biden who went on a spending spree after COVID. Listen, during COVID 2020, we had to do something. We had to calm the markets. We had to do something fast. We had to do something massive so that markets wouldn't collapse. But by 2021, we had already flooded the economy with trillions of dollars. We didn't need to add fuel to the flame. And I always use the analogy, there's not an American family, if they had an illness, like we had a pandemic in 2020, that family, and they had to borrow $50,000 to pay for medical bills, if that family member got well, or if the pandemic ended, would keep borrowing $50,000 and keep spending at that level. But that's exactly what President Biden and Democrats did for 4 years. So now our debt and deficit has exploded. when it shouldn't have. We should have already returned to a reasonable pre-pandemic level.
Okay.
And now that we're spending more than $7 trillion, it's hard to get back down to that level.
So, but you have said, Senator, that the current bill as passed by the House is unacceptable because of what it does to the debt. So what is this bill going to look like by the time it gets through the Senate?
Well, that I can't predict. Again, I think the House, I sympathize with how difficult this process is. But what I've been suggesting is you have to go line by line through the federal budget. That's going to take time. We're not giving ourselves enough time. We have to focus on the real numbers. All you heard in the House was $1.5 trillion. Sounds like a lot, but it's meager in compared to the $89 trillion we're going to be spending over the next 10 years and the $22 trillion we're going to add to the debt. Their bill, I believe, actually adds to that $22 trillion. Again, that's averaging $2.2 trillion a year deficit. That's completely unacceptable. That's why I'm saying it's inadequate.
Okay, so safe to say that you would not support it in its current form that it passed through the House.
Correct. I think we really have to take a two-step process here to give ourselves the time to go line by line. They're doing it the old-fashioned way, exempt most spending, look at a couple programs, tweak them, have the savings in the out years, have some fake savings. Yeah, there's some good work in there. There's no doubt about it. It's tough, but we need the time and we need presidential leadership to get on board with returning to a reasonable pre-pandemic level spending. That's probably for next year no more than $6.5 trillion. Right now, we're on track to be over $7 trillion. That's completely unacceptable.
All right, Senator.
Well, we'll see how it goes. We hope you have a good Memorial Day there in Wisconsin. Good to have you back in front of the hearth again, Senator. Appreciate it.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.